In the late 1960s, Northern California was, gripped by fear and paranoia. A mysterious figure known only as the Zodiac Killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area with a string of unsolved murders that stretched on for years. The killer's identity remained, honestly, one of the most famous mysteries in American crime history, leaving behind a trail of victims, cryptic letters, and a chilling legacy. It all began on December 20th, 1968, when high school couple Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were shot to death on a remote road near Vallejo, California. Their car was parked on a quiet, desolate stretch of road known as Lake Herman Road, which was, a popular spot for couples. The police at first had no clue what had happened. There were no witnesses, no motive, and really no apparent reason why anyone would want to kill this young couple. But yeah, something felt off. The brutality of the killings, along with the isolation of the location, hinted that this was not an ordinary crime. On July 4th, 1969, just months later, the Zodiac struck again. This time, the victims were Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, who were sitting in their car in Blue Rock Springs Park, a known lover's lane in the area. A car approached them, parked nearby, and a man emerged from the vehicle. He then walked up to their car, pulled out a gun, and began shooting them at close range. Michael Mageau survived the attack, but Darlene Ferrin did not. When police arrived at the scene, they found a survivor who could only offer a vague description of the attacker. A week after the Blue Rock Springs shooting, the police received an ominous letter. The letter was postmarked July 31st, 1969, and it was filled with strange symbols and claims of responsibility for the recent attacks. The letter was signed with a symbol that would become infamous, a circle with a cross through it, resembling a crosshairs or target. The Zodiac Killer didn't stop there. He sent a total of 4 letters to local newspapers, boasting about the murders and taunting police with cryptic messages and codes. In one of the letters, he challenged the authorities to catch him and promised that he would keep killing unless they could figure out his cryptic ciphers. One of these letters contained a cipher, a puzzle with letters and numbers that, if solved, was supposed to reveal the killer's identity. Some of these ciphers were cracked by amateur sleuths, while others remain unsolved to this day. As the years passed, the Zodiac's attacks continued. On July 4th, 1969, he murdered a young couple, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard, near Lake Berryessa, north of Napa. This time, the killer approached them wearing a distinctive costume, a hood with eye holes cut out and a symbol of the Zodiac on it. He tied them up, then stabbed them repeatedly. After killing them, the Zodiac left a message on the car door in blood. Vallejo, December 20th, 1968, July 4th, 69, August 4th, 69, July 4th, 69, a reference to his previous murders and a possible warning of future crimes. After the attack, he casually walked away, leaving the victims to die. The Zodiac's final confirmed victim was a man named Paul Stein, a cab driver in San Francisco. On October 11, 1969, he picked up a passenger who later shot him in the head, then stole his wallet. The killer later sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle where he claimed responsibility for the murder and provided details that only the killer could have known. This was the last confirmed murder linked to the Zodiac Killer. Although there were a few more letters, none led to an arrest or identified the killer. Despite numerous investigations and, thousands of leads, the Zodiac Killer's identity remained a mystery for decades. Various suspects have been suggested, including Arthur Lee Allen. He was a convicted child molester, and Allen was the prime suspect for years. However, there was never enough evidence to link him definitively to the killings, and he died in 1992 without ever being charged. Richard Gaikowski was a journalist who worked for the Vallejo Times-Herald, which was actually one of the newspapers that received the Zodiac's letters. Some investigators believed his handwriting and other connections suggested he was the killer. So, in 2021, a group of independent investigators announced that they had solved the case, claiming that Gary Francis Post, a deceased convicted killer, was actually the Zodiac. They argued that, well, the symbols and letters from the Zodiac ciphers matched his characteristics, although, many experts still remain pretty skeptical. Even though the case officially remains unsolved, the Zodiac Killer's influence has really rippled through pop culture, inspiring countless documentaries, books, and movies. The chilling nature of the case, the cryptic letters, the unsolved ciphers, and that lingering lack of closure has left a permanent mark on the public consciousness. What made the Zodiac so terrifying was not just his ability to, elude the law, but the way he played with the media, mocking the police and even threatening to kill children if they didn't stop investigating him. He was a ghost, always just out of reach, but leaving an indelible mark on the city and the people who lived there. As of today, the Zodiac's true identity remains one of the most famous and unsettling mysteries in American crime history. The last letter sent by the Zodiac Killer was postmarked 1974. After that, the letters stopped and the killings ceased. The Zodiac vanished into the fog, leaving behind an eerie silence and a trail of unsolved riddles that continue to haunt investigators to this day.